All right, let's take a look at lesson 421. How does it grow? Today we're going to be looking at proportional relationships, and we have a lot of background information that is going to be kind of skimmed over right now. 421, the problem set is introduced by a college fund math problem with Gustavo's grandmother putting some money in a savings account for him, and the account pays simple interest. After 5 years, the account has $500 in it. Gustavo makes a prediction that if he does not deposit or withdraw any money, then the account balance will be 1,000 5 years from now. So that's some background information. And Gustavo got his bank information in the mail, his account information in the mail. And we're going to be taking a look a little bit more carefully at what is happening with his math and his original deposit and what is as far as what's going on with interest. All right, so he's looking a little more carefully, and we've got a table started up, and I'm going to switch over to the dot cam, and let's take a look at this table a little bit more carefully. And Gustavo's bank balance table is right here. And what our first question to help us analyze the data asks us is, how has the balance been growing? Whenever I'm looking at comparing things or trying to see what changes happened, I compare one piece of information to the next cell in a table. Here we go up by 1 year. Here we go up by $20. So we're adding $20. And this time, 460 plus 20. And one more time, we're adding $20. So how has the balance been growing? $20 is added each year. Does the number double as the number of years doubles? No, it does not double. And now we're going to go back into the book because we're going to look at a graph. And our focus questions for the graph are, what is the starting balance and how much is the growth in 5 years? So let's go right back to the book. And I'm going to bring us over to the graph. And this graph is showing me that his money did not start at zero. The money started at $400. And I'm going to write that down. And I will bring your attention to that when we get to that part of the video. I'm going to write it down and we'll circle it. So we started at $400. How much is the growth after 5 years? Well, 5 years is somewhere in here between 4 and 6, right? So the graph shows us that it's gone up about, just like we thought it did. It's gone up to be about $100 in 5 years because we started at 400. Well, we ended up at 500. So we have 500 subtract 400, which is my original amount. And so we have $100 growth. All right, so I'm going to go back to showing you my dot cam so you can see where we're at with our analysis here. And just like I told you, we have How much growth in 5 years? If we do the amount at the end of 5 years, subtract 400, we have $100 growth. We saw on the graph that the deposit did not start at 0. It started partway up the y-axis. So that's something that's important for us to take a look at as well. How much money would he have after 10 years? Well, we can take a look back at the table and the graph. The table doesn't go to 10 years, but the graph does. So let's see what happens when we look at the graph one more time. And on the graph, we go across on the x-axis, and we have 10 years down here right above the word deposit. And if I follow that line up, it ends up being at $600. So how much money would he have after 10 years? Gustavo would have $600. So he would have $600. And I'm going to show that to you again right now, going back to the .cam and looking at our information. He would have, after 10 years, he would have $600. Is it possible Gustavo's account could have had 0 in it year 1? Well, again, based on what we see on the graph, this is where 0 is, and the graph data starts at 400. So based on what we see, we would say no. Based on the graph, it started at $400. And I'm going to go ahead and show you that .cam one more time. So that is where we're at with 423, 424. And now you get to go on to your independent lesson, which is to work on problem number 27. And problem number 27 looks like this. Is it proportional? So we're going to be giving you some situations, and you need to think, is it proportional? Does it change at the same rate between each of our data points?